Recording.
St Cuthbert, Somerset, Burnham, Somerset, Netherstory, Somerset, Stalham Town. That's Norfolk. Norfolk. Steve Toon. No, more not coming. Yes, Richard, yes. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Stephen. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, I can indeed.
Well, welcome to you. I hope you have the most fantastic weather that we're having.
Sort of. it's a pleasant day today, without a doubt.
It's a stunning morning here. So does that mean that you're not in Somerset? Whereabouts are you?
Norfolk.
Oh, right. One of the Norfolk gigs. Great.
Yes, indeedy.
So it's a battle between you and Stalham to see who's furthest away.
Well, I'm Stalham.
You are Stalham. Okay. So there's three of you from Stalham. There's one probably coming from Hertfordshire, and the rest are a bit more local to me.
Right. Say no more.
But no, we had absolutely the classic British summer's June morning.
Yes.
Just fabulous. Yes, absolutely. I can't imagine why.
The temperature here is a bit lower than I would like.
Yes.
But yes, it's a lovely day. I mean, we've had a reasonable week. Last week was a bit of a write-off for rain and
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had this is the sort of weather where you think I really must start moving the office out into the garden.
Yes.
And get some fresh air.
Yeah, then you've got screen problems though, isn't it? You know, if you're on...
that is the big one. Yes, I found a big cardboard box works wonders.
Oh, right. Okay.
So in these days of online shopping where everything is arriving in boxes, there's no shortage of suitable choices.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the plus sides of all this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's good. So are you getting a chance to use Parish Online, or is it not yet up and running?
It's apparently the council have had it for quite some time. I attended a bit of a webinar, I suppose it is, with a few local actors from other places, but we've not really had chance to get that involved in it at the moment. Right. And this is part of the reason why I've joined today, to have a look. I've got a couple of questions on security and what have you, because I'm the GDPR member for Stoddart.
Oh, right.
So
just a second, I'm going to Steve, just going to throw my telephones out of the room so they don't go off in the middle of the show.
Okay.
We've been caught out that way before.
Yeah, I'll just
Hello, Graham.
I can see you're basking in the sunshine as well.
Yeah, it's wonderful here. Yeah,
It's just fantastic.
I've very reluctantly just returned from the allotment, especially for you, Graham.
So heap me up with guilt before we even start.
Yes, yes. I have to say, can I say before everybody else joins, I will be sneaking out. I think I told you in an email. I'm dressed up in my National Trust uniform, and I'm going to do a volunteer job later in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, say hello to Steve, who's over in Norfolk.
Hi, Steve. How is it over there?
Well, it's nice and sunny today. It's a little bit cool, but it's okay.
Oh, good.
It's given me a chance to get the garden sorted.
Yeah, I don't know Norfolk very well, but we've decided as a family that we're going to descend on you for a summer holiday. I'm not quite sure where my daughter's planned, but
Okay.
it's a long time since I've been to Norfolk.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I quite like it here.
Yeah.
I was Nottingham born and bred, but the family moved here in the mid '60s, something like that. And yeah, so yeah, that was for health reasons, but not for me, for one of the family members.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What is healthier in Norfolk than Northampton? Oh, sorry, Nottingham.
Oh, absolutely.
Or is it just the clean air?
Yeah. One of my siblings was severe asthmatic, and we moved out of Nottingham, which was it was a heavy industrial mining town that we lived. So moved to a nice clean air of Norfolk. Yeah.
Right. Good morning, Michelle. No, good morning, Michelle. If you don't say hello fast enough, they think that you're ignoring them. And if you say it too quickly, they aren't ready yet.
Hello.
But I thought Michelle laughed, so perhaps she is listening after all. But maybe not.
Hello, Steve.
Hi, John. How you doing?
Whenever I can.
Like that.
Whenever I can.
Right, Michelle, so you can hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear.
Can't hear you though. Morning, John. I'm sorry, I was talking to Michelle, but I can certainly hear you, John.
All right.
And I see Richard is being splendidly anonymous this morning.
Of course.
Good morning, Richard.
I'm busy doing other things, so you can look at the borough seal.
Okay.
Is Michelle on mute?
No, she's not on mute, but she's
No,
not on microphone either.
Yeah.
Wagging her head. You may just have to content yourself with listening, Michelle, and watching. Morning, Chris.
Oh, morning, Graham. Morning, all.
Morning, Chris.
Is that it? Is
Yay!
Hooray!
Well done.
We're in the process of setting up a live Zoom meeting to complement our first face-to-face meeting, and we were messing. My laptop's going to be used, and we were messing around with the microphone and everything. So we got feedback. So that's what's happened. So
Yeah.
we're in business now.
Yeah, well, actually, the quality of your sound is very good, so that works.
Good.
So I need some creative input, Michelle. We're all men on here so far, except you, and we've talked about the weather, and now we're completely lost of what to discuss next.
Well, I attended the PSGA webinar yesterday.
Yes,
You were there, weren't you?
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was very, very good, wasn't it?
Well, I think Chris is very good at his relaxed sort of presentations.
He is. He's a very good speaker, isn't he?
Yeah.
You can see he enjoys it, though, can't you?
It's unlike my tense, worried self. He's relaxed and calm.
Maybe it's because he's got an 11-week-old baby, so his nerves are just torn apart with that.
Morning, Amanda. Oh, you're on mute. Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning. Yes, I
think
imagine.
Amanda should take over the conversation now. I think the spotlight should be on her now that she's come into the room.
Yeah, well, it is.
I think you ought to stop picking on people and give us a full breakdown of the 2 hours that you lost in your life yesterday.
Well, I think it was one of those bait and switch type meetings, because I went thinking that it was going to be presented by the Ordnance Survey and give me uplifting news of what we could do with their stuff that we can't do at the moment. But it actually turned out that it was Parish Online that was hosting it with an attending gentleman from Ordnance Survey, who I think broke all the records because he probably ended up the 2 hours having spoken no more than 10 words. So it was a bit more of a presentation on Parish Online's part about what we can do with their product. So Malcolm was there nodding very wisely all the way through, but asking pertinent questions on the chat.
I thought it was a great shame, Graham, that they didn't have more of an input from OS.
Well, yes, that was my feeling, that it was a bit of a misleading title.
Yes.
Now, I recognize that time has gone by, but in theory, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to come. We're getting a Sarah from Salem today. Do you know John or Steve?
Yes, so, but I haven't spoken to her for a couple of days.
Okay. Well, we'll just give them a couple more minutes in case people are fighting to get on for some reason.
So is this the banter session to start off with then? Is this the new way for the
Well,
clinic?
no, I'm afraid it isn't a banter session because the normal picture that we use for bantering is not present. Is this the seal of Stoddart? Really?
Evidently, yes. We have such things.
It's morning, John.
Not just the ones that are getting sucked into. Oh, I didn't say that.
Well, let's spend the few more seconds before anyone else may be calling in just to introduce folks. Those of us in Somerset probably all know each other, but I'd like to welcome the 2 and possibly 3 who are coming in from Stalham in Norfolk, where Stephen was telling me before we started that they've had Parish Online for a while, but we're not sure that it's up and running very well. So hopefully they can pick up some tips from here. And I think everyone else knows everyone, don't they? Yeah.
Hey, well, I'll be friendly to our visitors.
All right, would you then start the banter, please, Richard?
He's had time
Norfolk.
to...
What do we know about Norfolk?
Well, people apparently move there from Nottingham for their health.
Do they?
Oh, many.
Why would they do that?
Well, that's a good question.
I lived in Nottingham. I'd be very happy to move to Norfolk, I think.
Yeah, my wife was born in Nottingham.
You can tell it's for our health because Steve's 110 and I'm 120.
Well, you are looking extremely well preserved, Steve.
Yeah, you've given my secret away. Yeah.
I use the same millimeter dimensions for my ankles as well.
We don't want anybody else coming though.
Oh, good morning, Helen.
Morning. Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right. We were just discussing the fact that you have not won the Mileage for Distance award because you're in Hertfordshire.
No, I'm in Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire, sorry, that's even worse. And
Who wins?
we're discussing why would you move to Norfolk, where two of the attendees are, and they were giving as evidence the youth that it incurs, or it implies. You must be very restored if you go to Norfolk. I mean, Steve is smiling at 102 years old. It's very impressive.
110.
Fountain of youth.
Right. So
Absolutely.
let me get started on this show now that we all roughly know each other. This morning we've got quite a busy agenda. I'm going to show you some new features within Parish Online which have been added within the last couple of weeks. I'm not even sure that one of them didn't arrive this morning because I never spotted it before. And I'll introduce that by saying they have taken on a new database person, and I think it's beginning to show that things are happening with more and more frequency, which is great news. Those of us who have been pushing the to-do list on Geosphere will know that one of Andrew's requests from what, 5-6 years ago has now been implemented, Andrew?
Which one was that? I make 2 requests a week.
Well, so we'll go through the new features within Parish Online. Then there's some new layers which are of interest to the people in Somerset, but give an example for all the rest of you of what can be done where you can get the county and the district councils to sort of cooperate. Going to just touch on national maps for those of you who've forgotten what they do, and then we'll go into what's happening with the user group. So the first thing is the new features. I'm going to share my screen and pull up some of what I hope is going to be of interest to you all. Excuse me. Blimey. So the latest thing, or the newest thing, or one of the newest things that we noticed is that what used to be called list is now called table. And along with it have come a few new features. So if we just select any old list of things to put in, I've got one that I wanted to put in. What did we call it? Children's playgrounds. Got one there? No. It doesn't really matter. Long Sutton Village. Nope. Okay, well, let's go for something that's a bit shorter. Ancient Woodland. So up will pop the data. That's not a good, sorry, that was a bad choice. If you choose a one of your own layers, then you are actually able to make changes to it. Here we go. Got one of my own layers. Come on.
Can you just type in what you want in the box?
Yeah, you're now throwing my own information back at me, Chris. Thank you. Isn't that what I told you last time? There we go. Perfect. So if you go into playground equipment, if I decide that I want to make a change, that let's say this is a swing for older children, I can just go ahead and edit it online here. So you don't need to go and search for it and find it and click on it. You can just make the change, click on save, and it's all done. And you get a little note saying it's saved. So table, I think, is a huge time saver for those of us who are doing our best to get export data out of Parish Online, or make lots of edits and changes, because you can do everything here, which is quick. It does have another advantage, though. which if I go back to parish layers and choose that same playground equipment layer, turn it on, you can now go into the mini list and the table view is right there, and it opens up in the layer that you want to be in. So that's an even faster way of getting to where you want to be. Just find the layer in your normal list of layers and right click on it, or go in through the mini menu and you're done, which I think is very helpful. The new thing that I spotted this morning, which maybe somebody else will tell me it's old hat and I should have seen it a long time ago, but if I go into imagining I want to create a new layer, and we need to bring this down. So just for showing people this, we'll just wait a few seconds for layers to show up, which I'm absolutely positive they will when Microsoft gets around to it. There we go. If you like to say, I'm going to create a new one, then up pops this new choice, which I've not seen before, which is select from a template. So let's just say, for instance, that I really want to set up a new layer all about grass cutting. If I click on grass cutting, there we go, and I save it, then if we just pause a moment or two, it will arrive in the list. Yes, being on a moment or two. There we go. So if I now click on that one, and I can go up into the columns, you'll see that it's created all the standard columns for you without you having had to do a thing. And the beauty of it is you can now say, well, actually, I want to change that. You can edit it, and here are all the columns that the template has put in for you, but you can now either change one or add a new one. Let me just move this, it's flashing at me,
That's great.
Which is very helpful, I think. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of templates for you to choose from. But it's, again, I think something that probably one of the old hands has asked for many times over the years, but I'm delighted to tell you it's now there. So much for that. Yep. Who's got a question?
Excuse me, outside our house. Someone's come off their bike, so I'm just going to shoot off.
Okay. Dearie me, it sounds panic. Hope it's not too damaging.
Yeah.
Other new features. So if we go back to the main structure of Parish Online, the banter people will know this because you mentioned it last Friday. But there's a new status alert as we put it into the system to let you know if there is anything that isn't running. So down here at the bottom, you'll see a green lightning flash. If you click on it, it comes up and tells you what the status is of the 4 major components to Parish Online, or in this case, XMAP, but Parish Online is a derivative from XMAP. So that's very handy. If things aren't working the way you're expecting them to, you can always check to see if it's the system that's at fault or whether it's just your fingertips. And the other thing which is reasonably new is the notification layer here. So your little bell, and if you haven't looked at it for a while, it will have a red dot on it to show you that there's something new to look at. Clicking on it will bring up the latest updates. So here you can see that they're announcing this service status tool that's arrived. They're announcing table view, which we've just discussed. Bear in mind that this is an XMAP update, so there will be something here like constraint checker, which doesn't apply to Parish Online. There is no constraint checker as far as I'm aware within Parish Online. I've not come across it yet. So I will now dwell a 35 millisecond pause for someone to tell me I'm wrong, and no one has done, so bad luck. So that's what someone did.
Graham, could you click on that lightning icon at the bottom,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind. Now, just supposing there's something wrong with the print service, how would we know?
Oh, it just changes from green to red.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Thank
great
you.
for those who are colourblind, Graham. Thanks.
Yeah. How often have you asked them for it to be done in Braille, Andrew?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, of course.
As well as going from green to red, could it not go from a circle to a square?
I will certainly ask
that will help people.
Malcolm, for all I know, it does. I haven't actually seen it yet when it's gone wrong, so it may do that. But it's a good point. Change color and shape. For Andrew, if you moved to Norfolk, you wouldn't have this issue.
No.
Why?
Because you go there for your health, your color blindness will disappear.
Okay.
Another question, Graham. Sorry to harp on about this.
No. Do.
If you go back to that status thing.
Yeah.
Why do you know it's a copy?
Right, the bottom one, static web pages. What exactly does that mean? I'm clueless as to.
I think it will be some of the links through some of the layers, but I will check. I don't actually know for sure.
No.
But I will find out for you.
Thank you.
This is meant to be a smooth running show, and here we are busy writing questions to friends. Good. It's nice to see the activity. Yes, exactly. Keep me on my toes. All right, so that was all the new stuff from Parish Online themselves. Now, for those of us in Somerset, and this is of interest perhaps to the Norfolk people, we have been assaulting the county council and our local district council for quite a long time to say, do better with respect to those of your users who are on Parish Online. And Malcolm and I have an ongoing communications link with Somerset, which is they've asked for a summer break because they're keen to make changes without our chasing them. But they've come up with 5 new layers here. So we used to get just the public rights of way from Somerset, and it was hugely out of date. So we've now got one that's been updated. So that's good news. We've also, for those people who are interested, we've been bantering them or bashing at them for the much more detailed one. This one is sort of basically gives you the footpaths and where they are and what their numbers are, like that. And then if you, those of you who've not seen this before, if you zoom in sufficiently, you start getting identity numbers on the paths. If we just wait a second. Yeah, there we go. So you can identify them when you're talking back to anybody. But they've also put in these 4 new ones, again, specifically at our request. So we have to sort of acknowledge that they have been cooperative and reactive there. So those of you who want to know where your primary school catchments, your middle school catchments, and your secondary school catchment areas are, they're all listed. Which is the secondary one we do have, don't we? But if we zoom out, yes, you see that one just popped up here. And if I click on it, then usual thing, up pops the data, which is not particularly informative, is it? But never mind. At least we know that the school is there. And then lastly, and they specifically said that they admitted that this is something that does not change more than once a year. They've given us the gritting routes that they'll be using for this year, and that will get updated for next year in due course. So Somerset County Council has multiplied by 5 the number of layers of information that we were getting from them. So that's positive.
Can I come in a second, Graham? You've obviously got only one secondary school catchment in your parish.
Yes.
We've actually got 3. So in fact, it actually draws the outline of each catchment area in the parish.
Oh, right. It's very handy. Thank you. So Somerset have announced that their first priority with respect to digital data is going to be with a product called iShare, but they have said that anything they develop for iShare, they will export to Parish Online. So as this 3-month delay that they've asked for is specifically so that they can develop more data for their iShare product. So we're expecting it to trickle on down, if that's the right word, to Parish Online. So that's just for the county council. Now the district council, again, for those of you in Norfolk who are not familiar, or for Bedfordshire, South Somerset District Council, all district councils have a geographical information system, a GIS, and South Somerset made the decision at the tail end of last year to go with XMAP, which is the parent system for Parish Online, which means that the more they get into the layers, they move the layers across to XMAP, they will automatically start appearing in here. So the new ones that we've got are the latest changes to the address list from the local councils, building preservation orders. I mean, well, you can read as well as I can, but I mean, I think the SIL information is extremely useful, as are the conservation areas, and certainly all the planning people will be delighted to see the Section 106 agreements. So South Somerset also being helpful, but we expect to see many more layers from them. And again, for the people who are not in Somerset, there's a unitary in Somerset called Bath and North East Somerset. They've been using XMAP for the last 10 years. They have bought the Parish Online licenses for all of their parishes for all of those 10 years, so that the parishes get it completely free. And therefore they have no excuse not to use it. And Baines exports 400 layers constantly of data. So basically nearly everything that they've got, which is public, able to be put out for the public domain, is going straight to all of their parishes, which I think again is good news, and it's a target for people like South Somerset to link to. And there's a brand new one. Has anyone seen Somerset HER before?
No.
I've got no idea what that is. Oh, look at that. Isn't that fascinating? I've got no idea what that is. Monuments.
Brilliant. There's a monument.
Be a picture of,
we have a monument in Stratton.
Yeah, well, we have a monument near us. Let me just zoom in a bit. We're in the wrong area. Oh, my goodness me. God, there's monuments everywhere. Let's just click on one of them. What the heck are you? Oh, maybe that's still a work in progress.
I think it is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they're brand new, and I had no idea they were there. So we should have more of these clinics.
Can I interject here, Graham? I think this looks like the wonderful layers from this historical records website.
Yes.
Which is what we've been asking for. Or certainly you've been.
Website, and you can get everything. You can get ridge and furrow fields. You can get milestones. You can get all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Including where archaeological digs have been done in your parish, which is quite useful. But
okay, so going down a bit. Well, look at you're right. Look at these tithe maps and field names. Yeah. Wow, how fantastic!
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's made the day worthwhile already.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I can't find my county on there in the list. How do I get to look and see where my county is? Because I've looked into the national maps. I've looked into boundaries. All it's got is general stuff. If I go into district, borough and unitary, which is what I thought it would be in. I have no additional layer.
I think boundaries
Helen, when you
administrative, there's county boundaries. That helpful?
Well, I don't really want boundaries. I want their information. And I mean, I know where the boundaries are.
well,
You know,
but
they're on there anyway.
Do you know for sure that Bedfordshire is putting information out?
Well, I thought I saw it the other day when we were on the call yesterday, but I cannot now find it. So I don't know where to look. So where do you go when you want to look for local county?
What I would suggest, Helen, is you go up here to the search icon, the magnifying glass, click on that, and then type in something that they may put it out as. So you might type in Bedford, you might type in County Council, you might type in CEC for County Council, anything like that, see what happens. But it may be that you don't have anything.
Yeah, nothing's coming up.
No.
But I did find something the other day, which was weird. So,
well, see what we're putting out in Somerset.
Oh, it was an annotation layer I found.
TPOs are sort of more or less everywhere. What happens if you type in TPO?
All right, let me try and get rid of that. TPO.
No.
No, I don't know if the search function is not working because it's just flashing. The cursor's just flashing at me, and nothing's not telling me there's nothing. It's just not doing anything. Or is that how it works?
Well, just out of interest, I know that you have got this one. So type in flood, FLOOD, and see what that gives you.
That gives me Environment Agency flooding and all the flood areas, which I have.
Perfect. So, well, that's the answer to that question. That answers the question about whether the search is working. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tends to suggest that there isn't much coming from Bedford at the moment.
I'm sure I looked something into, I say, in the annotation layer.
Yes.
Oh God. I hate this thing so much.
Well, all that's going to be resolved tomorrow, Helen. Yes, you and I are having a session tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it would be reasonable to cover all these things there.
Okay.
Because we will do. You're welcome.
Okay,
so
Graham,
Chris.
Graham, running off at a tangent, I was reading through the Parish Online help page yesterday, and they mentioned road accident data and also speed limits. What layer would you go to get road accident data details?
I have a suspicion, Chris, I haven't checked this out yet, but I suspect that they're talking about XMAP, not Parish Online.
Okay.
No, they're certainly there. I've seen them. Yeah, the stats are there, although they're fairly meaningless because it's the data dump without sort of all the background knowledge.
But is that going to be at a county level or a national level?
I'll find it.
There's an area called under Department for Transport under the list, and it says
stats 19. That's the one.
Yeah.
Well done, Helen. Yeah.
The latest is 2019.
Yeah, you probably won't. There'll be at least a year out because of the recording process.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that answers Chris's question.
Yeah,
they do give you indications where the accidents are, but they don't. It's not easy to understand what's gone on.
Right. So my fourth item on my agenda was just the fact that we are beginning to see some success at pushing at district and county level. And I would suggest that we all keep doing that. And I'm pushing harder in the Mendip and Somerset West and Taunton districts, which are the two districts which are not. And Sedgemoor, which are not being very helpful at all to us at the moment. Although Mendip does seem to be much more responsive than the other two. I wanted to mention now, again, particularly for the relative newcomers, the national maps level. Because in Parish Online, nearly everything is that you can do is limited to your parish. So any data that you put into your parish layer or your asset register is unique to your parish, and it's not visible by anybody else anywhere else in the country. However, that doesn't apply to the national maps, which rather is a giveaway that they are national, and therefore everybody can contribute. So for those of you who've not yet done this, you can go into either of the national map boundaries. Let's just go for allotments. And we probably need to sort of zoom in a bit and come a bit more towards my direction, just so we can see the one that we've got. There we go. So there's one here, which if I click on it, and that one, whoever it is, has not got any data at all. So you've got all the field names here, but no data in any of them. However, if we zoom in a bit further until we get to our neck of the woods, where do I live? Anyone know where I live?
A bit further south than that.
It's written in the label on your pajamas.
Is Michael? Are you sure?
Well, if they've got any sense, they write it on the label on your pajamas. You're likely to wander at night.
All right, so here we are down in Long Sutton. If you click on our cemeteries, he said virtuously, then you see that we filled in all the information. And the whole point of this is that it's a national database, so that A, you'll be able to compare the income that you get from your allotments with anybody else and see if you're charging a reasonable fair rate. And B, people who take out the data at the top level can find out about all the allotments in the UK, how many there are, what area they cover, how many are empty, how many are full, that sort of thing. And exactly the same is done for the cemeteries, which I'm going to turn on purely because the interest in this, out of interest, was triggered by COVID-19. So the government was very worried that it was going to have huge piles of bodies, and it had no idea where it was going to put them because it didn't know what the capacities of the various cemeteries across the country are. So working with the Institute for Cemeteries and Crematorium Management, they came up with this system which lists all the questions that they wanted to know about cemeteries. So basically you can see here that they're most interested in the total capacity and the remaining capacity. And again, if you can consider that this is happening all over the country, then the government will have a much better idea of how much space there is and where it is for putting all these bodies that they hoped they were not going to have, and to some extent they certainly did. So the national maps are the only bits of the system whereby you can impact information on a national basis. It also, funnily enough, gives you the right to make changes elsewhere. So if your grandmother lives in North Yorkshire and you know that she tends an allotment, then you can go into her allotment and amend it, correct it, bring it up to date, or even create it if it doesn't exist, because they have found that a lot of allotments are not even recorded at a national level. So I mention this to ask if everyone could A, make sure that their own parish information is up to date for both allotments and cemeteries, and B, then sort of spreads the word that we can do this on a national basis, on the grounds that not every parish in the country is going to have Parish Online or want to pay for it. Then Parish Online has come up with a solution which is a free solution. So in order to become acquainted with the system, you download a copy of Parish Online for a free 30-day trial. At the end of your 30-day trial, the system automatically downgrades to what's called Parish Online Lite, unless you've actually subscribed to it. So do I have a copy of Parish Online Light? I think I might have, just to show people. On the other hand, I might not. So I mention that because with Parish Online Light, there is no cost to you whatsoever. And all you can do is access the national maps, but you can still go in and amend your copy or anybody else's and get the data out. So that's available to those of you who were unaware of it. And then the last topic of conversation I wanted to bring up was the user group. So hitherto, the user group was started to help Parish Online users, specifically in Somerset. But because it appears to work and it is having an effect, witness the impact at the county and district level, I've been asked if I would open up the borders to basically the country as a whole. And as a result of that, the name of the user group has to change, because it was PUGS for the Parish Online user group in Somerset. But that no longer would apply if we're going to go to a broader, what's the word I'm looking for? Audience, spectatorship, whatever it happens to be. So I asked the Banter group for help in coming up with a suitable acronym and words or description of the user group. And I have to report that regrettably, they were all useless.
Excuse me.
Some of them cannot be repeated on a family show like this. So
worst was one of the worst.
Yes, that's true. They were. So anyway, what I've done is started a new website for the new user group, which after endless discussions, we've called the Parish Online user group. And the first thing that we've done is created a help system for people like Helen. So Helen was complaining yesterday that the system is not easy to find out how to use it. It's not particularly intuitive, not particularly helpful. And I thought, well, we could certainly do better than that. So here on the main screen of the user group, you have the typical main screen of Parish Online. But each of the menu choices up here is now a help system. So if you want to find out what on earth you can do with View, you get there. And if you want to know how on earth do you use the coordinate finder, it'll tell you. And what we've done is gone through step by step how you need to do anything you need to do. And we've done that for nearly all of the main menus on the top row. So this is still
can I interrupt? Where do you find this?
But that is a state secret for at least the next 3 or 4 minutes until I publish the information. It actually, you will have noticed from working with me that I'm a cheapskate. And so I develop my websites on Wix because they don't charge you for the purpose. Unless you want to use some fancy descriptive name for your user group, like Parish Online user group, in which case you have to buy or upgrade your system to enable that name to be used. So at the moment, you can get there by going here, and I'll just put that in the chat for you. Bear with me. Is there a chat? Oh, you probably can't go into chat whilst I'm sharing the screen. Hang on a minute. Let's stop sharing the screen. Let's go into chat, and I'll publish it there. So there you go. It is a work in progress, so it's going to keep changing. But at the moment, we cover everything up to create. I haven't touched this one or that one yet, but I think the one that's possibly most helpful to beginners is the one that's the logo for Parish Online itself, because that introduces you to how the Ready system works. So page after page after page of really helpful, friendly, cheerful, humorous, brilliant work by whoever the author was to help people who need help. So at the bottom of the introduction, I say, this is a feedback system. I really would appreciate people writing to me and saying, this needs work, or it didn't follow, or it didn't work, or what happened to your sense of humor? It's ghastly. And that sort of feedback will enable me to make changes to the system. What I intend to do is to cover everything that you come across in Parish Online, which is what we discover with the user group. So, I mean, Andrew was puzzled the other day by an exclamation mark that appeared on one of these layers. He just got a black triangle with a white exclamation mark in it. And it took a bit of work to discover that what it meant was you need to zoom in on that particular layer before the features can start to work the way they're meant to. But all those little...
Screen?
Come again?
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, maybe I'm... No, that's very handy, isn't it? Sorry about that. Let me try doing that. Let's go back to showing the screen. Can you see it now?
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
So what we're going to be doing is going into the various layers that come up with odd tweaks and things, and hints and tips will come up on the system so that you can find out what you want by just pointing at it. And now look at this, you can all see that there's a new message on the notification system. That's what the little red bubble means down there. So that's the Parish Online user group, new name, new website, and new help system. It's also going to have new scope. So not only are we going to be hopefully helping people from across the country rather than just Somerset, but we're working with, obviously, Norfolk, you're here, and we've got people coming from Suffolk, Hertfordshire and Bedfordshire, and I think after next week, Lincolnshire. And tomorrow we're talking to Devonshire. So hopefully this is going to spread. And what I'm saying to any of you who are wondering, as you sit there twiddling your thumbs, wondering what on earth am I going to do today, you may be somebody who can help out with those people who are in trouble. So if you feel that you're bored and got nothing better to do, please let me know, and we may be able to say, well, why don't you teach Parish Online to these people who are stuck? But I just mentioned that in passing. The infrastructure isn't in place yet. This is all sort of a work in progress, but I just thought I would pass the word on. One last thing is that those of you who've worked with me in the past know that I deliberately chose 3 o'clock in the afternoon as the time for all of our meetings and Zoom sessions, because that meant that they would be more or less disastrous, because all the children coming home from school jump onto the internet and then they interrupt everything that we're doing. So with the special exception, Helen, of our meeting tomorrow, which is staying at 3 o'clock, I've changed the meetings to 11 o'clock in the morning, like this one. So here is a screen that I hope you can see, that basically 11 on Mondays, I do demonstrations, which just show people who've never seen it before how it works. On Thursdays at 11, except for tomorrow, we do basic training for anybody who wants to know how to use the Ready system. Fridays, we're staying at 3 o'clock just because we really don't want to give Chris Muse a chance to answer all of the questions that we raise. So 3 o'clock is staying fixed. And then the clinics will also move to 11 o'clock, as this one has. And if you all have a violent dislike to the word Pollock, please do come up with fresh ideas and let me know. There's nothing fixed yet in the name of this system. It's probably going to stay the Parish Online user group as the name for it, but there's no reason why we can't come up with some much more appealing acronym if your creative minds can come up with anything. So I'm done.
Since we were pugs, can we not just become pug?
Do you have a preference for that? Parish Online themselves think it's extremely unprofessional to have a dog as the slogan.
Oh, right.
And I've turned back and said that actually this is not your user group, it's ours. But but we will we will take your feelings into account.
Evidently not.
Well, I think it's certainly, I've discussed with the people at Geosphere that there is an advantage to us being independent and being rude if we need to be to get things done. So I have no intentions of changing that. I'm just hoping that with the increased scope, we'll be able to get more help out to more people who need it. So that's the end of the formal presentation part of the meeting. Malcolm, you got your hand raised, so I guess it's all to you.
Right. I was just wanting, for the benefit of our new friends, to make a comment about dealing with county and district councils. For a long time, I was trying to deal with Somerset County Council, and in fact, it took me something like 6-7 years to get anywhere. And the lesson I've learned is that I was attacking the wrong person. Sorry, attacking is the wrong word. I was approaching the wrong person. And in my ignorance, I was trying to get hold of the person who was in charge of GIS mapping. This turned out to be very wrong. And it also turned out to be wrong with our district council. Basically, these people who are in charge of GIS fundamentally do what they're told. And I don't mean to sound demeaning by saying that, but they are not the ones that root policy. So we need to go higher than that. And with Somerset County Council, for instance, the lady who I eventually got to, took me 7 years, was the customers and the community's corporate affairs manager. I mean, it's a horrible mouthful, and doubtless they're called different things in different councils. But Mendit was very similar. And it was the person who was looking after customer and communities. And so they are the officers who actually have influence. With Somerset County Council and also with Mendit, it's even better if you can get hold of the board member. In the case of Somerset, most councils now have a board. And I got in touch with the board member who was in charge of the officer, who, as I say, was customer and communities corporate affair. So I think to have success, you need to approach the right person. And now we've done that, we've got a great dialogue going, both with Somerset and in my case with Mendit. And so I will recommend that's how you go ahead. GIS people will carry out the strategy, but they are not the people to make the strategy, and that's the people we need to get to. Okay, thank you very much.
That's great, Malcolm, thank you. So in much the same way that we've learned how to get through to people in Somerset, we're now looking to do the same thing across the country. So as the user group grows and the number of counties that get involved grow, then I hope that we will be able to increase the usage of Parish Online, because more and more district and county councils are recognizing the need to export to it. The field is wide open to anybody who wishes to raise any points or discussions. And there's a second note in the chat. Let me just see what that was. Helen, that's lovely. Thank you. Done. All right, well, I'll stick that up on the new website. That's too good to miss.
That's
Thank
what
you.
that's how I feel about it when I'm using it.
We need to work on that because it's not going to be any help to anybody if people aren't comfortable using it. So hopefully our session tomorrow will get you a lot way further down the road you'd like to be down.
Yeah. Okay.
If there's nothing else from anybody else, I would like to say thank you so much for your time. It's been invaluable. I've been enjoying it, and I hope that you found something useful out of it. And I'm delighted to see the Somerset Heritage records are being exported to us. It's great news.
That was one of our main asks, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, absolutely.
And that is also interesting because the custodians of that are the Southwest Heritage Group rather than Somerset County Council themselves.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me they were contracted by the County Council?
They are, but if they are amenable, there could be, I use my words carefully, access to a whole load of stuff from the Heritage Service.
I've noted a problem with the historical records one, which I'll try and investigate. Some of these layers are obviously very big, and they seem to take a long time to load. Yes. I'm not quite sure what the technique is for loading layers. I don't know how the whole system works, but there are long delays on that. And that could well apply to many other layers that we get on Parish Online.
Yeah.
And you are basically very well served by broadband, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, reasonably well, I think.
Yeah. I'm in the 60s, so certainly I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
So is that particularly true of the heritage stuff?
Well, I think I was thinking of investigating it and reporting at our next Somerset meeting on Friday, Graham.
Yeah.
I'll have a quick look at that because certainly at the moment it's a lot easier for me to sort of go into the historical record website on my other screen rather than use it through Parish Online.
Right. Well, if Norfolk would like to come to the banter sessions on Friday, you're more than welcome.
All the change their accents first. Wouldn't be able to understand them otherwise.
Right. Anybody else?
I'll say cheerio.
Right there.
Well, thank you all so much for giving up your time this morning. It's lovely to see you, and we'll see you next month. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.